This podcast contains explicit language.
And spoilers. Only if you suck.
Today, on Two Fat Guys Talk Games, terror in the Middle East after announcement of potentially always-on DRM on Xbox 720s, and time, compression or expansion or dilation. What theory is perhaps best used in gaming? I am Carlos, and this is my compatriot,
Dave.
Dave, thanks for being a zombie there. Two Fat Guys Talk Games, episode 31.
Oh, wow, good job. 31.
With friends.
Yeah. With friends. Today, we have three friends joining us. Sound off, friends.
Hi, it's Kiki.
This is Paul here.
It's Richie.
And unfortunately, Ike was supposed to join us, but he is feeling under the weather and will be unable to. But he sends warm regards and some cement.
Cement?
So what the hell have you all been playing?
I've been playing some Phantasy Star Online 2, some Guild Wars, some Metal Gear Rising, and e031 Odyssey.
Delightful. You're playing the newest e031 Odyssey there, Richie?
Indeed. Actually, my first one, and I'm quite interested in trying out others.
Cool.
Really, I've been a butt lately and just been playing PSO2, so... Oh, sorry, Phantasy Star Online 2. Nothing too recent for me, really.
As for me, I've been playing a mix of some WoW, some PSO2, and also I've been playing, repicking up a Nocturne for myself, Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne. Of course, it's a game that's kicking my ass, because of how difficult it really is, especially on hard mode.
Games are at their best when they kill the crap out of you.
Pretty much, yes.
But perhaps not always.
They do it with time compression.
Indeed. Here to tell us why he's not paying attention to the podcast is Dave.
I'm paying attention. I was letting everybody have their thought. So shut it.
While you're next.
Know your role.
While you're totally next, what the hell have you been playing?
I've been playing a combination of Ni no Kuni, Final Fantasy 13-2, and Gears of War with you.
I don't
Have you
recall
felt
playing Gears of
Ultros?
War.
Sure you don't. Sorry, Gears of War 3. I'll get it correct.
Oh, I thought you did say Gears of War 3. I was just being an asshole. Kiki's wondering if you fought Ultros yet.
I have not. I'm not going to buy the DLC unless I absolutely have to. I will say, though, that I think Final Fantasy 13-2 is probably the best Final Fantasy they've made since 10. Just throwing that out there.
We should move on to the next topic. No, I'm kidding.
I think everything is the best Final Fantasy made since 10, because my opinion of 10 kind of got soured over time.
Really? Oh, that's probably a topic for another day.
Indeed. Here to tell us why this is a topic for another day is Dave.
Oh, for fuck's sakes. You're put the onus on me here, aren't you, Carlos?
No, I'm just being a dick.
But bringing in the actual main topic, DRM, always online models. You brought up the topic of the 720, but other topics within here are also the online always DRM fiasco of SimCity. What does everybody think about it?
Man, oh man, the things. Let someone decide if they want to start or if I can rip EA apart.
Feel free.
SimCity. I've never really played the series. I know it's about making cities. But the topic here is the online-only aspect of the newest SimCity, which, for reference, we'll call SimCity 5, I guess. This game is apparently designed to be completely connected to the rest of the player base of the world through an online-only connection. However, there is nothing that I have seen from any video, from any reading of any article, that doesn't suggest this game could be single-player only. However, in a move that I can only assume is to prevent piracy, EA and Maxis have agreed to use an online-only method. That means that to play this game for a series that I know for fact has been, up until this one, a single-player-only game, online only. Let me put it to you this way. If you know anything about SimCity, you know that this game has been offline more than it has been online since its release. To the vast majority of people who bought it since it came out. I think it was Tuesday? No, 2 weeks ago now, huh?
Yeah, I think so. But that is a very good point. Like, this has been a predominantly single-player series. While Diablo 3 uses the always online kind of model as well, one could argue that Diablo has been a multiplayer-friendly and, in fact, multiplayer-encouraged game since its inception. So, yeah, like, this would kind of be like suddenly the next Castlevania game or the next Mega Man game requiring always-on DRM.
Doesn't this sound like a bad idea? Because, in SimCity, you can destroy your own town and stuff. So there's bound to be people who will just go around destroying everyone else's little city.
But you can't actually destroy somebody else's city. You can be a dick and be right beside them and try and put crime to them. But you did hit on a very big thing there. In previous SimCities, and I mean, I played SimCity 4 here actually pretty recently, just to sort of get my mind back into how SimCity worked. I haven't bought SimCity 5. I have no intention of it, at least until somebody makes it offline. Probably the fans. There's a number of main things that just don't work in SimCity. You talk about piracy. Yes, it probably is to prevent piracy, as stupid as that is. But the other thing that they're doing is they're making that the DRM can also allow them to push DLC easier. And they're already talking about individual, like, 99-cent special buildings. It's sort of like what you'd see in a iPhone version of one of the city builders / town builders.
So basically, EA is trying to bring that mobile model over to this PC flagship title.
Bingo.
Oh, Christ. I didn't know about that.
If I may say something about the whole, like, DRM thing, just like Diablo 3, I know, like, Phantasy Star Online 1, when it was on the GameCube and Dreamcast, it had its own separate offline and online modes. But when Blue Burst came out, it was like always online. There was no choice of an offline option anymore.
I think the thing, though, is Phantasy Star Online was a console game. And the thing is, especially nowadays with these like console infrastructures, where if you try to hack your Xbox or PS3, you can't connect them to Xbox Live or PSN anymore because they'll be found out and banned from the network. With those infrastructures in place, it's increasingly difficult to maintain your own offline hacked copy of something, or hacked files, or hacked data, because you need to eventually connect to a service for your console, and that service will rat you out, basically. On PC, this has been something that's been possible since day one. If you want to have characters in a centralized kind of game, they need to be stored online on a server so that your offline machine can't touch it with cheats and whatnot. And the thing about Blue Burst is Blue Burst, as I recall, was a PC game only. It didn't come out to consoles.
Okay, but even based on that, I would say they had justification for the online only, aka DRM, in that model to begin with, because in those sort of games, you want to know that the person playing with you isn't using, hacked item 129 that gives them godlike abilities. You want to have some actual challenge in the game. Yes. It's why I liked Diablo 2, where you had the online mode you could play with your normal characters that you could hack if you wanted, but you had the online only stored characters that you were guaranteed weren't going to be hacked. Diablo 3, I wish had that model as well, because quite frankly, I lost interest once I finished it through the first time. SimCity, on the other hand, is you're building a town, and it's nice they wanted to make it that, your friends' towns would help and affect you, but they could have done that just as easily as, what have my friends done today? Download. Oh, Carlos made a city full of prisons. Fantastic. Nizzy made power plants. Great. But they could have done it in a way that wasn't so intrusive to the overall package. And on top of that, because you can't save your city at certain states, you also can't make the major decisions for, well, what if I try doing it this way? Because if you try and do it that way and it fails, you might as well scrap and start from the beginning, because there is no save states. It is just a perpetual city of, if you fuck up, you're screwed. Oh, and your cities can only be a certain size now, which sucks.
It's my understanding that there is a mode you can play where you're not connected to other people's cities. You still have to be online, but you play it by yourself, basically, like Diablo 3's. But why wouldn't I want to take Prison City online and affect others with crime? How does this regioning work exactly in SimCity's online world?
Yeah, what if I want your Prison City?
Well, how it works is basically when you go on there, you can set your friends, so your friends are beside you. Or you can just randomly place down your city in a block in a random map, I believe, and other people can just be around you.
Is there anything stopping you thinking Carlos's Prison City everywhere?
I don't know.
Because I kind of want to Judge Dredd up these online servers. I want to make Mega City 7 where hope is the new religion, because there is no hope for the people in Prison City.
Damn, what is this, like reverse Gotham or high Gotham? What?
You should be able to build Gotham
Yes.
and see like a superhero sim grappling up on the buildings.
It'd be even better than City of Heroes.
It actually would be better than City of Heroes.
I got silent. I just wanted to bring up a point about SimCity. I have obviously not played the game. I don't really have an interest in it. It's not my thing. But with regards to saving it to the server and being able to have save states, Naxxus's other big title, The Sims series, has done online implementation while a cash grab still pretty damn well with The Sims 3. I've played quite a few of The Sims 3s for some time, and its expansion packs, and the thing about those are they're connected online in a special way through the Sims site. So there's like a catalog of houses and Sims that you can save to their server so that other people can copy the houses and the towns and the people and implement them into their save file. This should have been how SimCity worked, I think.
Yeah, like if you like Prison Office Tower 7, you should be able to copy one over so that your citizens can know what it's like to need to work to feed the machine.
Because you can build your own town in Sims 3 and build each building, and you can copy buildings and copy people and copy items that people have created, I'd say that The Sims 3 is a better SimCity than SimCity.
In Prison City, we clone everyone for the eventual war.
Oh my. Wait, so Clone Wars?
What? That's a silly name.
And the worst Star Wars movie ever made.
I understood every one of those words.
No, you didn't.
I know. So, always on DRM. What if the Xbox 720 requires you to persistently be connected to use the device? What if, because we don't know yet.
I won't be buying an Xbox.
You know, I don't think it's fair because, for example, right now, I know I don't currently have my own Xbox, but if I did, I don't have the money to keep spending to, like, what is it? Those current gold, silver passes, whatever they're called.
The memberships.
Yeah. What if I don't have the extra cash to spend on this membership? But in order to play any game, I have to have one. What the F?
Well, we're not arguing that The what if is, what if you always need to have an internet connection, not what if you need to keep paying monthly.
Well, what if there's a thunderstorm and you are oh no, then you would be playing. Never mind.
Listen, you're asking for a one-way trip to Prison City if you don't answer the question.
Oh wait, I have to answer it.
Yes, talk first. You gotta answer.
Oh, that's how it works. Okay. Well, what if you're moving and you don't have an internet connection? You're like, damn it, I just want to play from fucking Xbox, and now I can't because I'm moving and I have no internet connection, so F me? That's not fair.
Yeah, that's my big issue as well. Listen, the reason I don't buy a Chromebook is because I don't want a piece of shit in polished aluminum. And I can do everything with a Chromebook in my web browser. I don't want a Chromebook console that always has to be online to function. Because what if Snake Plissken 666 is this fucking planet?
My big thing is, what I would love to know from Microsoft, if this ends up being true, let's get positive. What are the benefits of having an online-only console? What could they possibly think is beneficial for everyone involved of having an online-only console? I would love to know. Let's brainstorm what good things could come from this.
You know what bad could come from it?
I already know all the bad stuff. Let's focus on some good things, because I can't think of any, honestly.
Frozen Spirit of Death is bad.
Well, one of the good things about having online-only consoles is that, let's say, for instance, I'm an idiot and I want to have a console that needs to be tethered to an Ethernet cable or always have its wireless receiver, giving my other testicle cancer. If I want these two things, an online-only console will give this to me.
I don't understand anything that you just said. Wait, how does that... What?
Here to explain what I just said is Dave.
Okay, you see the patient seems to have a problem with having a small dick.
Jesus fuck.
I'm pretty sure that all of this smack talk and all this means that there is nothing good that can come from online DRM.
Well, okay, I'll take devil's advocate here, and I'll look at it from the studio's point of view. You can push things like what your friends are doing at any time. The social aspect, which they're all seeming to focus on, would benefit from an always online schema. Because that way you know what your friends are doing, you know that, oh, this person's doing this in this game. It'll allow me to know that I have to go and kick Carlos's ass in pinball again. Little things like that, it would be an advantage to. However,
like Steam.
How does it actually benefit us? Unless you're a Facebook whore, I don't really see any benefit to us.
Well, then that means Microsoft is going to make billions.
I was thinking of Facebook as well, because that's what it kind of sounds like. Like it sounds like an online, well, from what you're describing, it sounds like an online Facebook for games that you can't log off of.
Like .hack.
What David just described sounds extremely like what Steam does, only Steam has an offline mode that you can still access your games if you don't have internet. So, another for Steam.
I'd like to think that if Microsoft tried such a thing, that they would very quickly be laughed off the face of the earth and carted over to Prison City.
If this isn't being true, I will definitely not be buying an Xbox until they take a feature that lets it turn off. And even then, I would be very careful.
I would not trust any piece of hardware that doesn't want to turn off.
That too. No, it might sound funny, but think about it for a second. And
you can start fires with shit.
Not only that, but an electronic that doesn't turn off, no matter what you do, you can't tell it to turn off. as long as it's plugged in with power and whatnot, which I am not moving my entire entertainment set to turn off my Xbox manually all the time. Like, a system that refuses to ever turn off, what kind of data could that thing be mining from whatever it is you do? If you go search on the internet or whatever from the Xbox or do whatever, what kind of things could it be looking at?
Looking at PPs and porn.
Looking at peepees and porn. No, the thing that brings it up is because there was this interesting article that I read. I'm pretty sure that it's all bukkake and whatever, but it's something to think about on a rainy day. And there was a time when Kinect just came out, the Microsoft Kinect, the motion controller, that people thought that while it was on, it was actually reading the area around you as well and reporting that back to Microsoft. It's some kind of conspiracy theory.
So here's the thing. An always-on system could be reporting on your habits and whatnot and centralizing it, but it's probably no worse than what Google does already.
Okay, I've
here to
got
give us his opinion is
here.
Dave.
Thank you. Anyway, there's actually a couple really good points that were brought up there, and hell, let's go over those because it's already happening. Microsoft has patented a idea to be used on the Kinect 2 that will be able, while you're streaming or watching a movie, to tell if there's more than 6 people watching that movie, and therefore having you have to buy an additional person license. This is a patent you can look up on the internet right now that they have gotten. 2, the reason why I refused to play any games by EA these days is because of Origin. Origin's terms of service, I accept Steam, looking at my hardware stuff, looking at my stats and everything else. What I don't accept is Origin demanding to basically do a file scan of my hard drive. A file scan, not directory, file.
That's too personal.
It's way too personal. It's another reason I don't buy EA games anymore either. And I hate that whenever I want to play something like Kingdoms of Amalur or Mass Effect 3, which I generally think are pretty good games, I can't launch them through Steam because EA won't let you. They're porting all of their games from Steam to Origin because they think Origin is the best thing on the face of the planet. So download a crack.
So we're talking right now about whether this is going to happen. I hate to say it, boys and girls, it's happening right now. We've already allowed it to happen. People are using the Origin service and accepting this. So we've already lost that battle. Now the question is will the 720 actually do network scanning to see what you're doing? Myself, I don't think they will. I also don't think that they're going to do the always online DRM, especially seeing as Sony has said they're not. That would be enough, I think, to actually kill the system.
Microsoft has and EA have no business knowing whose navels I fantasize about licking. And I, for one, as administrator of Prison City, I was about to say Prison Planet, as administrator of Prison City, would like to see them carted off to some kind of city made of prisons for this behavior. But, Dave, you are correct. We have allowed this, and unfortunately, legally, we're going to have to hope some legal battle erupts and some precedent is set for this to not happen anymore. And with the Digital Millennium Copyright Act in place, that looks less and less likely.
It's a bad time to be a gamer, huh?
You know what? Maybe we need to go back in time and prevent Origin from existing. And that brings us to our next topic.
Oh, son!
Yo, that segue was hella sexy, son. Yo, I don't know if that's appropriate for the internet, but you know is you know.
That is highly appropriate. So, let's talk about time mechanics in games, whether it's in the game mechanics, like in Braid or that Prince of Persia where you could go, why, and turn back time, or whether it's in the story of the game, like in Chrono Trigger or the first Final Fantasy, or whether it's a mix of both. Let's talk about time in games and have a good time as we do so. Time.
Time.
Let's first dedicate some time to which games did time good and which games did time bad. Good examples of time, bad examples of time, and then break down the mechanics of whether or not time should ever be used again. Time. If I may. Games that did it good. Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. Games that did it bad. Oh, I'm not done with my games that did it good. Prince of Persia. I generally don't mind the use of time in that game. Games that did it bad. Final Fantasy VIII.
We're not even going to start on that one yet.
We're not going to start on that one.
Actually, I'd like to know what time thing Final Fantasy VIII did. Why don't you explain that to all of us, Richie?
Time compression. The ultimate evil villain of Final Fantasy VIII, a Final Fantasy RPG by Squaresoft when they were still soft. The name of a witch, sorceress, person thing called Ultimecia. Her ultimate plan, and the whole reason that she was manipulating all sorts of characters throughout the storyline and controlling other sorceresses to control other people, to control other people, to control other people to get her way, was so that she could ultimately compress every single moment in time into one instant. She called it time compression with a K. And I to this day, I still don't really understand what she is going to earn from this.
Well, first, you compress time, okay? Then, you no longer have to use the bathroom because time.
So doesn't that mean you want to have already and kind of want to shit again?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Here to tell us more benefits of time compression is Dave.
Ugh.
Good contribution there, Dave.
I love
Honestly,
this whole dumping things on Dave thing. It's so much fun.
Having played that game, I'd have to go back to play it again to even think about it anymore. 8 used its time well in the way that it bounced back and forth from past and present. It helped them develop the storyline and actually keep things flowing so you knew what was going on. So yes, in that way, 8 used its time actually quite well, I thought.
You know, I would argue, to this day, I know more about the plot to Neon Genesis' shitty Evangelion than I do behind the whole reason why time needed to be compressed. I totally hear what you're saying about, like, the characters getting to see everyone in the past, and the characters in the past feeling their presence, kind of, sort of. Okay, that's cool, but then the ultimate payoff for that idea was time compression, which, to this day, still confounds me.
Okay, yes, but we're not talking whether the game was good or not. We're talking how it used time. And in that way, I think 8 did a very good job of it.
I actually agree with that point. In terms of, up until the final moments of the game, where you finally face off against Ultimecia, I thought that the game's use of time and going back and forth was actually not bad. Compared to most games that use time, it was using it as a storytelling mechanic to its benefit. I actually agree on that. It's just that it just kind of goes all out the window at the end when you learn the true purpose behind all of it.
Okay, so what about the flip side, where a game's story may or may not have a time element to it, but the game's mechanics themselves let you manipulate time? Something like Braid, where you can rewind time, and every world has kind of a time-themed thing, like in World 5, where you can run forward, rewind time, and then whatever you do, your double does what you just did, I just went cross-eyed. What about games that you think have done the time manipulating mechanics well?
Prince of Persia, Sands of Time, Warrior Within, and Two Thrones. Regardless of whether or not you like Warrior Within or Two Thrones because they get grimdark, you can't argue that their time mechanics, in terms of their gameplay, being able to rewind what you did because you fucked up a platforming element, or rewind what you did because you just got wombo comboed in a fight, is great. It was great for its time. When it came out, everybody was like, whoa, cool, you know? It was like, it still holds up to this day, I think. It's still fun to play those games. They have solid combat. They have solid platforming mechanics. They're still really good, even if their story falls off the face of the earth.
Why?
Another game that has, like, time traveling based in its mechanics be like Ocarina of Time or Oracle of Ages.
Oh, yes.
Zelda.
I was going to say about Ocarina.
I would actually argue neither of those games have it. Like, storyline-wise, there's... No, actually, you know what? I'm wrong, because you can manipulate stuff in one time to affect something in the future and continue on, so I guess so.
As a storytelling mechanic, I don't think that there is a better instance than Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask. And especially Majora's Mask. I was thinking about it the other day.
I meant Majora's Mask, sorry.
You say what? You haven't played it?
No, I meant to say Majora's Mask instead of Ocarina of Time.
Oh. Yes, for anyone who doesn't know, The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask takes place over the span of 3 days, where if in 3 days you don't do something about it, the moon is going to crash into the planet and destroy everything. So, how it works is, once you get into the game proper, you can use the Ocarina of Time to set back time to the first day, and you can keep repeating this process, and you are required to do so in order to move forward. So the whole thing is, everything plays out exactly the same every time you reset time, which is awesome. That means that the same villager who's walking down this particular street is still going to be, on the first day, is still going to be walking down that same street on the first day when you restart time again. It gives you the notion that only Link, the user of the Ocarina of Time, is capable of changing fate, since he can actually move around in whatever time he wants, whereas everything else moves in its own set of time. I thought this was ingenious, because it played into the questing that got you masks, which were the side quests of the game that you needed to get the badass, fierce Daddy Link mask at the end of the game. The side quests were fun, funner than most Legend of Zelda games get, I thought, anyway. And honestly, it was like so cool to see that you could do all these different things and that you couldn't do everything in one set of days. You were just trying to create like a daily routine of where you had to be at certain times. It was the best use of time in a story I've ever seen.
On the plus side, there's the good benefit that whenever you beat a dungeon boss, so like any dungeon clears, you didn't have to do again, because otherwise that'd be a real bitch to handle.
How does that work then?
That's what plays into the story. Whatever Link is carrying, whatever it seems is that when Link is carrying a key item, he can take it back in time with him. He loses all the money he made, all the items that he got, like bombs, arrows, all that stuff. He loses all of that. However, he carries key items with him, like his Ocarina of Time he's always going to have on his person. He's going to carry along the masks, which seem to have some kind of magical ability to go back in time. I need to go back and see if they really explained how they were capable of going back in time with him. But most things got reset when you reset time.
So what about dungeons? How come if you beat them, they don't get reset?
They do actually get reset. You can actually fight them again. You don't actually get anything for doing that, though. The enemies appear to not have died, because I know that you can go back and you can challenge the fight again. I think you actually get, you can enter the dome where you fought them, and then you don't have to fight them, but then you can say that you want to, and then they do. Otherwise, you'll be able to kick their ass with the Fierce Steady Link mask, which I know you can do. Take them down in 2 hits, because Fierce Steady, the second manliest Link next to Twilight Princess Link.
And yet, okay, I'll give you the time mechanic there may be done well. Too bad the game sucked ass.
I thought it didn't suck ass. I think I don't know grammar, English major. I didn't think it was that bad of a game. I don't think it's better than Ocarina of Time in terms of its overall quality, but I think it's one of the more overlooked Legend of Zeldas.
None of the dungeons in Majora's Mask seemed like they were worse than any other 3D Zelda. I'm not sure where the criticism comes from about the game sucking. I've only heard that it's had novel mechanics, and those mechanics, the time-based stuff, is the reason for its belovedness and partly for the frustration around playing it. However, I'm going off of secondhand information there, I must say. Apparently, there's a character in the Skullgirls mythos. They were talking about it on a stream once, Mike Z and Alex Ahad. This character is named Isaac. Shoutouts to Isaac, who is sick and was not able to make it tonight. And Isaac is buddies with his future self, who he can summon for moves, but if you hit modern Isaac just the right way or something, it will undo his future self's actions, so you'll get your life back or something. It sounds bizarre and awesome.
By association, anything that is, like, done to them, like, in the sense, if you have the present and the future version of someone present at the same time, and the present version gets an arrow to the knee, Skyrim, and it cripples them, then that would mean that the future version should automatically also feel the same cripple, because no one's going to heal from that automatically. You will have that pain, especially if the future self is not that far in the future.
I think we need to test this. Who wants to have their past selves beat the shit up?
Don't you mean Shinji, who wants to be the vessel for our future selves to get hurt?
That's just silly. How are we going to test the
Newsy.
effects of time with this?
We can't go back.
We can go back. There are methods.
Okay.
Here to explain those methods is Dave.
I'm already in the process of beating the shit out of your past self, so I'm just getting onto this.
Did you jerk me off a couple times? Because I feel a little weird down there.
Nah, that's your other ball.
Oh. What?
Moving back onto the actual topic in question, because we kind of segued away from it. For myself, games that use the time mechanic poorly would be things like Breath of Fire 5. Annoyingly, the Dead Rising series. Well, I'm really liking the time mechanics of Final Fantasy 13-2, to name the ones that come right off the top of my head.
Wait, for Dead Rising, are you saying the time mechanic as in you only have a certain number of in-game minutes in order to accomplish tasks? Is that what you mean?
That, as well as the whole... I mean, ultimately, that's the same as Majora's Mask in the way that you have the time, you use it, and then you go back to the beginning with your stuff.
Like, my thing is with games like that, because I thought that we were talking about time as in going back in time and ultimately affecting a timeline rather than games that utilize actual time as a game mechanic. So that would open it up, because then Dead Rising, games like the Persona, or the games like the other games with time that basically time you in a certain way that it's always going to go forward and you're not always going to be allowed to do X. Therefore, you need to do X before this. Otherwise...
Your one-timed only events? Sorry.
Something like that. Like, another instance is like this other Shin Megami game, Devil Survivor. you can go around towns and you can ask other people or see storyline cutscenes between other characters, but time passes every time you do it. So you're incapable of seeing all the cutscenes. So you've got to choose which ones you want to see, and which ones you want to see ultimately affect how you're going to piece together the bits and pieces to get the right ending.
Oh, I see what you mean.
I know the game that did the best was Star Ocean till the end of time.
Yes, that game used time so fucking well. I know that my time was not compressed as I played it. It was dilated into like some kind of painful 40-hour dentist visit.
It was your favorite game, and I helped you because I couldn't let you stomach it yourself. It was just too fun.
At one time, I was rapid tapping the advanced dialogue button for like a minute because this guy wouldn't shut up.
Sorry, Try, but my fucking girlfriend wouldn't shut up.
Exactly. Wait a minute, that game didn't even use time. Why are you bringing it up, Kiki?
Because it's the end of time.
Oh, Jesus effing fucking Christ.
You know, who else was a waste of time? Marie.
Okay, taking this then into time travel as the topic. Fair enough. So good would be Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy 13-2. Piss poor crap would be Chrono Cross.
Here's the thing, okay, Chrono Cross didn't do time travel, it did parallel dimensions. It also did time travel. Chrono Trigger, I would argue, was not a terribly good example of time travel. It was just, because the story is a non-cohesive mess written by multiple authors
Carlos,
and multiple hands in the pot.
No, we're talking mechanics, my friend. That was a mechanic in the game, so shove it.
Yeah, I know it's a mechanic in the game, a shitty mechanic, because ultimately it didn't do anything for you. What did time travel do for you in Chrono Trigger other than give you an excuse for a Mode 7 Sliders-esque scene?
No, you could. That's how you would get some side quests and stuff done, and that's how you get better weapons and whatnot, which is like what you could kind of do in Majora's Mask. So you did get stuff from it.
Oh, I understand you could use it. You could abuse it, too. You could beat the Black Omen progressively from present to past and get all of the treasures in it multiple times. And I did that every time I played. What I'm saying is, it's not all that good. Like, Chrono Trigger shouldn't be praised for having great time travel mechanics, because it really had mediocre, functional to let the game progress kind of time travel mechanics. It didn't really have anything special. And Chrono Cross, if we're going to argue which one integrated its idea into it a little better, for all my hate on Chrono Cross, it's a piece of shit. The fact that it was alternate dimensions worked a little better because you had to travel between two to puzzle out everything, and it was much more ingrained into its story. At the very least, even though it was Masato Kato handling it, I could at least see that this was being done by one intelligence, by one narrative vision, unlike Chrono Trigger's, which seemed just broken and disjointed.
Yeah, in retrospect, I remember when I was watching two best friends play Chrono Trigger, and when they were playing through, I would have questions because I don't remember everything when I played Chrono Trigger back in the day, but I would be like, wait, why did we have to do this? Why did this happen? Like, there's just stuff that doesn't make any sense from one era to another.
So, okay, listen. The Ocean Palace is underwater, okay? So, let's go back in time and do something in between Prehistoria and now to make Queen Zeal not a cunt. Or, let's raid the Ocean Palace and get Chrono killed.
Seconded!
You want to know something else that I just randomly thought of? Radiant Historia. Another instance of bad time mechanics in storytelling.
I never played Radiant Historia because I saw that it was a Tri-Ace game, so I'm like, oh god, no. But Dave did.
It's combat built on solid mechanics. However, the storyline for it I won't get into too many specifics. I haven't even finished it yet because it's so convoluted. I can't figure out what to do, and I refuse to use an FAQ. I want to figure it out so I can increase my own penis size. But basically, you play along a story path, and then there comes a point where you got to make some kind of decision, some kind of sacrifice. Then you make said sacrifice, and then the main character says, "Oh, no, I don't want to make this sacrifice." And then he goes back in time to a specific point where he makes the other choice to go in a parallel timeline that's taking place along the same time as the true timeline, and somehow something affected in a timeline where you made a different decision affects the timeline you're in when you made the original decision, which allows you to progress. What?
Yeah, he's not making anything up so far. What happened?
I don't even understand what you just said.
Thank you.
Prepare for
Thank you,
time compression.
I've never really understood.
Ocelot.
I just thought of a game that kind of used time. Correct me if I'm wrong. Oh, shoot. What was the game? Okay, one moment. Well, actually, I thought of two games. One, Phantasy Star 3. Isn't that the one where, depending on who you boned, you got a different child? And isn't that the same as that shitty-ass fucking booby pad game that was on your Xbox?
Fantasy Star 3 was the one where, depending on who you boned, as you so eloquently put it, you would get a new protagonist later down the line, and there were multiple paths to take. That is kind of time in games. You're not really traveling through time as much as you are witnessing an event that would normally take more time than the window an RPG adventure would take place in, and you're privy to this large span of time as it relates to this game's story. So, there are games that do that. Saga Frontier 2 did that as well, where you played as through various timelines of characters to get to the final end. But Saga Frontier 2 blows, so whatever.
But what about that other game that Poe played? The one with the booby pad? That did the exact same thing. You chose your
Argus?
fucking... Yeah.
Icarus Wars?
Yeah.
The
That
Icarus
fucking
series.
shit. Like,
The Icarus series does that too.
like, some of those girls, I'm just like, oh my god, you have to bone one. But some of them are cool, but I just think it's really, what's the word I want to use?
Force? Force?
No, I want to say that the game itself is just,
Benign.
it makes you
Dull.
feel gross. It is dull too.
I have an example of a game that uses time in Super Mario Brothers. It takes a little bit of time for you to jump over a pit.
That game uses time. You have to finish. Oh, well, I guess then you would have to say Sonic uses time as well.
In Bubble Bubble, if you did not beat a level in enough time, a ghost would kill you.
Dear
Mario-
God, the best use of time.
Mario Luigi Partners in Time had that time traveling mechanic.
You would use your baby selves as weapons. I approve.
I truly only believe that there is a tried and true way to use time travel as a storytelling mechanic. And there is only one way that I am sure that there could be no deficiencies. And that is to go back in time, not some parallel dimension shit, in the same timeline of which things have already transpired. Let's say, Queen gets assassinated in 62, and it is now 68. You can time travel back to 62 in order to undo the fact she has died, to change the future. There is only one method of storytelling time travel that actually ever makes sense, and that is going back in time to present something to change the outcome of the future. When it starts breaking off into these other aspects, it starts losing its luster.
Physics disagrees with you because time travel backwards is not actually possible.
Well, it's not going to stop games and movies and stuff from doing it anyway, but in a fictional sense, it still can make sense in a fictional way.
I would hardly think, I would hardly argue that that's the only good way to do it. Multiple timelines and alternate timelines can make for great fiction. Any theory of time travel affecting time mechanics, compression, words can work, provided you have the solid narrative basis to support it.
That's not one that makes sense to me.
Let's do some final sounding offs from everyone. Poe, if you could go back in time and change one aspect of the modern gaming environment, like affect one company's decision or whatever, what would it be?
Like giving people, like,
Quickly, time is of the essence.
Yes, of course. More do-it-yourself kind of games.
Briefly explain.
Well, you know how it's just like how there are those games like RPG makers or Minecraft or like sim games, so etc. that like gives you like this little base thing that you can like, like make do with whatever you want.
Gotcha. Okay, I understand. Kiki, if you could go back in time and change one game controller in any way, how would you change it?
I would make the N64 controller not bleed into my hand when I try to move the analog stick.
A wise decision. Ziek, if you could go back in time and change one instance of a video game character going back in time to change an instance of something, what would it be?
Why do I get the hard one?
Better than mine.
You get an epic one. Do it.
I get an epic one. Okay. A time where any character who doesn't currently go back in time, can now go back in time to change the outcome of something. Who would it be?
No, a character that goes back in time and something happens to him. What would you change from an outcome of what he went or she went when they went back in time?
I would take... This is a hard one, guys.
Time is of the essence. Answer the question.
Lincoln Majora's Mask, when he turns back time to the third day, he actually turns it back to the fourth day, where the moon automatically just crashes.
Shit!
Excellent. Good work. I'd like to hear from Dave about the moment he would go back in time to change one aspect of a particular...
That was me kicking him in the nuts, man.
Oh, shit.
Time compression.
Did it
Finish the question, bitch.
What? Oh, right.
In the butt.
So, if you could go back in time and change any aspect of... Oh, geez, what's something Dave-related? Think like Dave.
That was my question.
I'm a big sticky jerk.
Right? Oh, because Zeke has lots of powers.
Whatever.
Okay, Dave, if you could go back in time and change ever having done a particular podcast episode, which one would it be? Excellent. All right. Everyone good with their time discussion?
No. There's one thing. I thought I was going to get this question, and I had an answer, and I needed to say it. I wanted the question of, if you could go back in time and change... Ow, my leg. If you could go back in time and change any one developer's decision on the choice that they made to make a certain game or join a certain company...
Oh my god, are you going to say Sega?
No. It would be to tell BioWare, don't join Electronic Arts.
Oh, I thought it was going to be Sega giving money to Gearbox.
Oh, yeah, and also to tell Gearbox not to fuck over Sega by taking all their money. And then giving them a shitty game.
I would have Masahiro Sakurai implode into himself.
Actually, that's a good one. I didn't think about that one. I would have Sakurai, die.
Jesus! That's way more grim than imploding into himself and therefore dying.
What? I just want him to die. I don't want him to, like, explode inside. Like, damn.
Here to tell
I
us
would tell Squaresoft not to stick its head up its ass.
I would tell Squaresoft not to turn into Square Enix.
Oh.
I would tell Enix not to buy Square.
I thought it was the other way around.
Nope, Enix is the one that was on solid financial footing, and then they absorbed Square.
Whoa! You learned something new every day, mind blow!
Actually, I didn't know that one either. But actually, I think you told me. But I clearly didn't remember.
No, you didn't listen.
I'm sorry.
Here with final thoughts is Dave.
This has been brilliant use of our time. Are we done?
David's gone.
Dave.
I'm here.
Dave, we need you to give some Jerry Springer-esque final thoughts.
Well, I do believe that Carlos is still a dick.
What? That is the worst Jerry Springer. Oh, Jerry Springer.
Yeah, I was going to say it's the best Jerry Springer. He sounds totally like Bill Cosby's deformed cousin twice retarded.
Excellent.
Delightful. I'm going to compress time on this exit and say that this has been Carlos.
And Dave.
And friends.
Friends.
Two Fat Guys Talk Games, episode 31. Everyone sign off.
Bye.
I was playing WoW the whole time.
So, if you've liked what you heard, you want to leave us some feedback, you want to give us some criticism, whatever, our podcast site is tfgtg.blogspot.com, where you can also find the feed link and our YouTube channel.
You can also find us on Twitter at TFGTG. Yeah. There's no way to continue that. So
There's no way to continue that sentence.
Please leave us some feedback. We accept good and bad. We will usually respond, seeing as we have such a small group.
We do have thousands of millions of followers, so we might not respond to you right away.
Sure, let's go with that.